Hey everybody, I'm Chris Lukey, and we are about to engage and indulge in a mindset masterclass. I'm super excited to be here with you today. Somewhere along the line, you like something, click something, or maybe you recently signed up for one of my master classes, and I wanted to reward you by providing you with this 5-part series on mastering your mindset. So for I'm reading for the first time, I spent nearly 30 years in the fire service, and I retired actually as a fire platoon chief. Prior to that, I spent a couple of years playing professional hockey. I literally been studying personal growth and personal development my entire life. I've been trying to figure out how this extraordinary operating system between our ears actually works. I'm now considered a mindset expert trainer, and I want to talk to you for a moment about this mindset. What is mindset before we get started in this conversation? Because if you're here, you're on the journey too, and there's something in your life you want to improve. You want to be more, do more, have more. So you probably got involved in personal development in some way, shape, or form. You've read a book, you've gone to an event, you understand how important your beliefs are. But at some time, at some level, mindset has become a lot of white noise lately, hasn't it? I mean, we know how we think and how we develop our mind and who we become in this world is really, really important, right? It dictates pretty much everything that we create. All the success that we have in our business, our life, all the success that we have in our relationships, both personally and professionally. I mean, mindset really is like the intel inside of our computer or inside of our cell phone. Because the truth is, your mind operates just like a cell phone or a computer. And have you ever noticed every couple of months, 2-3 times a year, you always get requests to upgrade the hardware, the software of your cell phone. And if you put it off and you put it off and you put it off, you keep getting notifications, but you don't upgrade, you don't update. And when you don't, you notice over time, your computer gets slower, you start losing apps, and next thing you know, everything's bogged down, tired, confused. Well, the same goes for our mind, because if we're not always updating the intel inside of our brain, we're going to get bogged down, we're going to get stressed out, burnt out, procrastinate, and eventually the apps inside here are going to really stop working. So what is this conversation about mindset? And for today's discussion, we're going to talk about mindset in a really, really different way. We're going to talk about it in terms of transformation, because we can read all the books, we can study all the material, listen to podcasts, but what's the sense if we're actually not changing the structures of our brain permanently? So, and what this really means is, how do we change the patterns of thinking that have been occurring for you probably most of your life that don't serve you well? And how do you create new patterns of thinking that are very empowering? And what that really means is, how do we change our brains? Because these patterns of thinking are represented in the structures of our brains. And so maybe if we're feeling like, and maybe you've experienced this, I'm not good enough, or I'm not as far as long as I should be, or you're comparing yourself to other people, or worried that maybe you haven't tapped into your purpose, your passion yet, and living life the way you truly should be. And all these patterns, what we are going to do is we're going to root them out in your brain. And we're going to change the structures of your brain so that you can have this inner dialogue. That voice inside your head becomes your greatest champion rather than your worst critic. So imagine that. How would that feel to have this champion inside of your brain always talking to you and guiding you in the life you want to live, the life of freedom, because freedom's the goal. And freedom looks different for everybody. But these patterns, they're actually called paradigms. And I don't want to confuse you today, but they're actually just a belief system hidden back in the deep in your subconscious mind. They're habits and beliefs that have been programmed inside your brain, because your brain is like an iCloud. On a moment-by-moment basis, since we made our grand debut in this world, it's been keeping files on us. So many of you may be familiar with this word, paradigms, but most of us aren't. So a paradigm is just a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behaviors, and almost all of our behaviors are habitual. Science now proves, neuroscience, neuropsychology, neuroplasticity 98% of our day is run by a program. 98% of my day is run by a program. And this program lies deep inside our subconscious mind. So in order for us to have this conversation, one of the things I like to establish with you is you don't have to agree with everything that I'm telling you. But I would like to invite you to come along for a ride. I'd like to invite you to try them on because it's not my first rodeo. I've been digging deep into this information for decades. And what I uncovered and what I discovered, nobody has taught me. You would think as 30 years as a first responder, they would teach us how this operating system works. But we know now, doctors, psychologists, they're trying to change our behaviors without understanding why we behave the way we do. And I'm going to give you a clear understanding of that over the next 5 videos. So this is what I've become obsessed with and I've become immersed with over my entire life. So I've not only gone through this myself, I am the material. I lived what I coach, I live what I teach. But now I've been super fortunate to have the opportunity to help hundreds of entrepreneurs, business owners, first responders, and everyday people like me and you, moms, dad, teachers, whatever that is, right? And one of the biggest distinctions and comments that our clients have said is, Chris, we actually now have an unfair advantage and what we call living a powerful, limitless life. So I'm going to be introducing you to some distinctions. And the first of those distinctions is your thoughts are not your thoughts. Now, at first you might say, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Of course, my thoughts are my thoughts. I do my own thinking. I am the thinker. And I want you to try this on for size. After this video, I want you to try this. In fact, this thinking is always taking place. And if we were to sit down and close your eyes and try not to think for a minute or 30 seconds, or stare at a candle, or try to focus on a dot on the wall, just for 30 seconds or a minute, it would be really hard not to think. Because part of our survival mechanism of this extraordinary technology that sits between our ears called the brain, which we're going to learn how to use more effectively, part of the survival mechanism of your brain, it's meant to keep you safe and in familiarity. It's constantly processing experiences from the past to remind you of the past. So the brain is constantly ingesting all of this information about the experiences that you are having on a moment by moment basis. It can't shut off. Me sitting here in front of the camera, you watching me, our brain's trying to figure out what's going on presently in the present tense, and it's trying to form an opinion about it. It has an opinion about it. And that opinion is based off a conclusion the first time that you've experienced something, what you're experiencing now in the present moment. So out throughout your day, your brain, in your current reality, your current situation, your brain's trying to process all this information, and the way it's trying to figure things out is what has a past experience, a past thought, what has that happened in the past, and it's coming to a conclusion. So the easiest example I have of this, and this actually happened to me, and this was a mind-blowing aha moment. Imagine if you were 3 or 4 years old. I was young and I experienced a dog attack. And for 50 years, I couldn't understand why I disliked dogs passionately. Every moment in the future that I experienced a dog, whether it be a beautiful lap dog, a cuddly new puppy, I always thought my brain was telling me, what do I think about this? And you're going to experience a thought. And the thought always for me were dogs are mean, dogs are dangerous, dogs are nasty. I hated dogs and I couldn't figure out why. And as I was going through this work, I recalled that when I was 4 or 5 years old, I experienced a dog attack. So every dog that I came across decades later, I had this pre-thought, and it wasn't true. That was just an experience that happened to me over 40 years ago. See what I mean by our brains keep a personal iCloud on a moment by moment basis? So think of an experience for you. Think of something right now in your life where your brain is processing a thought about it. True, not true. Like, dislike. So the brain's always throwing off these opinions about the present moment based on past experiences, about whether or not we like somebody, about whether or not we like ourselves, about ideas that we have about money. Every time we experience money or we see someone else with a lot of money or a lot of success, there's this thinking that's always taking place. So this introductory video here today, part one of my Mindset Masterclass, I want you to get really clear that this thinking is always happening habitually by a program running in the back of your subconscious mind. And as Buddha says, your thoughts are not your thoughts. Because once you're able to separate yourself from your thinking and you realize it's not you. You do have two minds, you do have two people. There's a Frankenstein and there's an Einstein. And Frankenstein is the paradigm, the habits, the beliefs. Einstein is the thinking mind. Frankenstein is the habitual doing mind. And Frankenstein always wins because he's bigger, badder, meaner, louder. So we have to be consciously aware of our subconscious thoughts. Because once you're able to separate yourself from your thinking, you realize it's not you. It's just a thing that's happening. It's kind of like a heartbeat. Your heartbeat isn't you. It's just something that's happening. Your lungs aren't you. They keep you breathing. It's just something that happens. You don't have to think about your heart beating, your lungs working, right? It's just a thing that's happening all the time. It's not you. You know your heart's beating. It's a separate thing from you. It's happening inside of you. So too is this thinking. Then we can be in a position to start questioning the thinking that's actually taking place. And I never ever want you to be shameful or beat yourself up or discouraged about your current results or thoughts that aren't serving you. Just use them as data points, right? Those are opportunity gaps. And I'm going to close all this loop when we actually get into the 5th video in this series. But what I would suggest to you is anytime you're thinking something that doesn't feel good, it's not true. And I'm going to build this case over the next 5 videos. That's why it's so important to watch each one as I put them out. So what we're really talking about is becoming self-aware, because awareness is the keys to the kingdom. Becoming aware of your own thinking and disassociating from our thinking and not taking our own thinking personal. This is why so many people, stress, overwhelm, anxiety, PTSD, you're taking your own thinking personal. We have to start challenging our thoughts and questioning our thoughts, right? I have thoughts just like you about not being good enough some days, or not being far as long as I should be, or feeling like I should have done something, or that I should be farther along. I should be doing something else than what I'm doing or feeling guilty about right now. But the difference perhaps between where I'm at and this journey of mindset and personal development and where you are at right now, I'm clear, it's not me. It's just a thinking that's taking place. I am consciously aware of my subconscious thoughts, and I become aware of my thinking on such a high level, it has allowed me to start questioning my thinking. And that's where we're going to begin this breakthrough. The moment that you are able to start observing your own thinking and being unattached to it and questioning whether or not you actually agree with the thinking that's taking place on a moment by moment basis, you begin to start tapping into your personal power. Because what's happening on a moment by moment basis is you're just being your thinking in the world. We don't even question it. We just accept it. Whether or not you agree with opinions or whether or not they're true, that these things are forming in your brain. So we have to ask ourselves, what am I thinking and is it true? What do I believe about this thought? So a lot of this conversation is about reconnecting with life and who you are. You're not a label. You're not a title. You're not a shiny white helmet. You're not a badge, a shirt. And that's what we call identity and self-image. And we're going to get deeper into that over the course of these 5 things, because there's so much pressure in life right now, all this pressure of having to be successful or trying to figure out who we are or discovering what our passion is. We're disconnecting from this amazing thing called life around us. And the irony is this: it's our ability to connect with life that's going to help us achieve what we want to achieve in this world, and what we want to make an impact in this world, and who we want to become, and really discover what our unique purpose and passion really is. So for this video, your biggest takeaway is this: your thoughts are not your thoughts. And we have to start questioning our thoughts and questioning our beliefs and understanding. Do not beat yourself up. Do not become shameful. Just be aware of them and start questioning your thoughts. Consciously become aware of your subconscious patterns. There's this thinking that's always taking place. And in the next few videos, we're going to talk about what to do with that thinking so you can step powerfully into your life and free yourself from that voice inside your head that's causing all this stress, all this anxiety, all this overwhelm, so you can go out and operate fully in the world and have, again, what I call a powerful, limitless life, and start experiencing life on the most elite levels. Almost every one of my clients call it an unfair advantage because they have become so aware of the truth and the science behind their thoughts. So a big part of transforming your life, creating transformation, is not just being stuck in this conversation around mindset and personal development. It's vulnerability. It's vulnerability. It's the ability to be okay with whatever you're thinking and however it is you're feeling about it. And you're going to be able to get this thinking and feeling out into the open and start working with it. Never ever shame yourself. Never feel guilty about your current results or your current thoughts. Just be able to understand them, become aware of them, and use them as data points, because they are an opportunity to rise up and to elevate. They're opportunity gaps. That's all you got to see. Where's my opportunity to improve? What's this thinking causing me to feel and act, and ultimately my results in life? So it's about taking these unconscious patterns of thinking that have been occurring for us, that have kind of been ruling our life in some way, and being able to get them out front and playing with them and start questioning, are they true? Do I agree with this? Who said? Who said? And a lot of times you're going to discover there's past experiences, past thoughts, past habits, past behaviors, because we are conditioned through our heredity and our environment. So one of the things I'd really like you to encourage you to do as we go through this journey together over the course of these 5 videos in this Mindset Masterclass together, I just want you to take a moment right now and notice for yourself, what's the type of thinking that's been taking place habitually for you that doesn't feel good? For many of us, that pattern of thinking may be, I'm not good enough, or I never feel like I'm doing enough, or I'm not as far along as I should be, or you're comparing yourself to others. So whatever that looks like for you, what I'd really encourage you to do, because you'll be able to use this as we kind of go through the journey together, comment below. What's the patterns of thinking that are showing up for you that are not serving you? And trust me, this is a safe place. I was a firefighter, fire chief, and a first responder for 30 years. This is a safe place. Listen, the reality is there are only so many patterns of thinking, and we all are experiencing them, whether you want to admit it or not. But the difference between people who are going to really go out and make an impact in the world and discover their purpose and live fully is that they're willing to look inside and identifying this stuff, because that's where the first step actually is in transforming your life. Start identifying the patterns that are no longer serving you. So I'll see you in the next video. We're going to dive a little deeper on how this brain works, and I'm going to give you some practical tools on what you can do to start actually doing to change the patterns of your brain of thinking and open up a whole new level of possibilities for your life. right? And that's what really the name of the game is. The name of mindset, transformation, opportunities, living a powerful, limitless life. See you on the next video.